Hello and welcome to Bedson and Coffee Unfiltered,
where we will be discussing fitness, lifestyle, healthy eating habits, relationships, gas station performance pills, answering romantic queries. You have anything else, Tyler? Is there anything? Do you need help with anything right now? Because I feel like I'm in a position where I can help you with it.
I mean, and everything else that we come across as we go. But
That's
you know
it.
what it's going to be, right?
It's going to be unfiltered. Hey guys, we are here today with Brandon Reed. Brandon is a client of mine. He is a 3-time national champ wrestler, multiple-time world champion in Jiu-jitsu, and has competed in ADCC, CJI, and just recently won the East Coast Trials in ADCC. And you're currently in Quebec, right? But you're getting ready to move.
Yeah, currently in Montreal, Quebec, and moving over to Ontario.
Yeah, so everybody listening that may not know, the ADCC Worlds is the most prestigious no-gi grappling event on the planet. It takes place every 2 years. I was actually there last year in Vegas when Brandon competed there as well. And then, so next year it's going to be in Poland, right? And you just punched your card for that.
Yeah, Poland, unfortunately. I wish it was in America still, but
A long trip.
it is what it is.
I wonder why they moved it to Poland. It seems as though it would be a bigger draw in Vegas again or somewhere.
Apparently, Jiu-jitsu is really popular in Poland. I don't really know. I have no idea. I think it's because Mo Jasm's not the head organizer anymore. So I think that whoever's the head organizer wants to start moving around. I don't know, though, but America or Brazil would have been a good option.
Yeah. It, did you go through, whenever you were touring Europe, doing your seminars and stuff, did you go through Poland?
No, I did like Portugal, the UK, Germany, Belgium, and France, but not Poland. I don't even know where Poland is. I think it's honestly, I have no idea where Poland is. It's somewhere there.
It's closer to them than it is to us. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, exactly. It's like
Right.
I have no.
I don't think you can drive there from here.
No,
I don't think so.
unfortunately, you have to fly.
Right,
which
yeah.
sucks.
Oh.
Yeah.
But so you just finished up with East Coast Trials, and that was a 2-day event. How many matches did you have? You had 4 matches, right?
5 total.
You had 5
I had
total matches.
4, yeah, I had 4 on day 2. I had 1 on day 1.
Okay, yeah. And so for those of you that are listening, like for the ADCC, or for those of you that don't know, ADCC Worlds, like you can't just enter, like you have to actually qualify for, or what there's like 3 ways, right? Like you can either win trials, be a medalist from the previous one, or be an invited.
Exactly. Those
Yeah.
are exactly the 3 ways.
Yeah. And then you took bronze at the last trials. Was it East Coast that you took bronze at?
West Coast, like the
West
less good
Coast.
trials. I always
Gotcha.
thought it's like the less good, because like the best guy had already won trials. I was like, I always feel like West Coast is a lot weaker than East Coast, but I think it's just because like, I think the best people usually win the first one, and then it kind of whatever follows.
Sure. Because they're out. They already punched their ticket, so they're out.
Exactly.
Yeah. So what's next for you? We've got Worlds coming up, right?
Mhm. Yeah. So I got Nogi Worlds with PSF. It's at brown belt, ultra heavy. And then I'll take a break in January, and then I have a super fight for Thug Trials. It's like something in, I have like just like a small super fight early February. And then hopefully that's kind of like a warm up for like a Grapple Fest title match, which is what I think is going to happen. So if I don't get the title match, I'll get a super fight regardless on Grapple Fest. So take a little break after Worlds, then kind of start warming up with super fights before I start to go back into like tournament season, because tournaments hurt my body. So I'm like, next year I want to focus more on like 1 match day events and like maybe pepper in a couple of tournaments before ADCC. But I don't know, like the more I compete, the more it hurts to do like 5 matches.
I can remember I was talking to somebody the other day, and you came up in conversation, and we were talking about your run at trials, and they were talking about how you were looking and stuff, and I said, yeah, man, he's looking great. And we started talking about it. I said, whenever we started, I want to say that Brandon was eating somewhere around a pound of cheese a day.
Yeah, it was fat. It was terrible. I don't know what I was doing.
I remember whenever you were kind of just randomly telling me what all you were eating, and I was like, Jesus Christ, dude. Like the fact that you were able to do that and do what you did, like you've got some kind of superpower.
That's impressive.
Yeah, I was athletically gifted more at the time.
I think you were digestively gifted if you're eating that much cheese. And
yeah. I loved it. I thought you could just put cheese on everything and you'd be okay as long as you're working out hard, which was not the truth.
I mean, it got you to one spot. I was going to ask you, you say you're 27 now.
Mm-hmm.
When did you start training for jiu-jitsu and wrestling? Like when did you get into it?
Yeah, I was 13 when I started wrestling.
Yeah.
So 14 years ago is when I started, which is crazy because it feels like it was yesterday. But yeah, I started so I started 14 years ago. I started wrestling, and then I started doing jiu-jitsu like a couple months after like my last college wrestling tournament. So that was 2021. So I started doing jiu-jitsu maybe April or May, like April, May-ish. I started doing jiu-jitsu, but I wasn't really doing jiu-jitsu full time for like a year, right? Like I was doing jiu-jitsu maybe 4 or 5 times a week the first year. So I feel like I really started doing jiu-jitsu in 2022, but my technical, like actually practicing jiu-jitsu was April/May of 2021.
Cool.
And what year did you win? Like your first Worlds, like you won Blue Belt Worlds. What year was that?
That was 2021. That was when I was kind of just like kind of 1 foot in and 1 foot out with jiu-jitsu. I didn't like think it was gonna be like a career or something, right? It was just
getting started. Guys wins Blue Belt Worlds.
Yeah. But I always think like it's easier for like guys who are like decent wrestlers to win Blue Belt Worlds because no one actually has a good guard.
Sure.
So everyone just tries to wrestle at Blue Belt. But then it got progressively harder, like purple, and then of course at brown it's like it's just exceptionally harder. So
sure, yeah.
And I was at heavyweight where guys literally like, at Blue Belt no one has a guard, and then at heavyweight absolutely no one has a guard at Blue Belt. So it was super easy. And then in the absolute, I faced my teammate in the final and I lost in like 10 seconds. So yeah, there's some bad to that day too.
And whenever you started did you start anywhere prior to starting with Chewy, or was Chewy the first gym you went to?
No, I started in I think it was Glasgow, Kentucky, or I don't know what the name of the city actually. I think it was I don't know. It's with a guy named Patches Childers at a gym called 13 Jiu-Jitsu. So Patches was my original jiu-jitsu coach or jiu-jitsu instructor until I moved to Louisville.
Okay.
And then I like started ramping up my training with Chewy. But yeah, originally I was training with Patches about 3 days a week, like Monday, Wednesday, Fridays, while I was still like kind of figuring out what I was going to do. And then when I moved back to Louisville, I started training with Chewy.
And then which now you represent Team Pedigo out of Mount Vernon, Illinois. Yeah.
Exactly.
He's a great dude. He's got a lot of incredible athletes.
He does. He's awesome. He has a system and it works.
Yeah. And then for any of you that are listening, if you follow my page, obviously you know who Chewy is. Chewy is my jiu-jitsu coach, and then was Brandon's coach for a very long period of time. So, but as far as a lot of people listening, they don't understand sometimes the differences with maybe when we're prepping for a grappling competition with lifting as opposed to bodybuilding and so on. And a lot of people don't necessarily consider the differences even in the prep for it and so on. So we were lifting about 2 times a week going into this, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. And I laid out 2 full body workouts for you. So how has the approach been different since we began working together compared to maybe what you did when you were younger or prior to this?
Yeah. Before, like, when I was wrestling in college, there was no structure. It was just like, all right, guys, we wake up in the morning. We wake up at 6 a.m. We go to the weight room and like, here's just some random lift that you had to do, right? So it's like, I don't know where the coaches got those lifts from, but you know how it is, like with wrestling. It was just a bunch of burnouts and like a bunch of nothingness. It kind of felt like, but it got me. I guess it got me pretty shredded or whatever. But also, I think it's kind of just like you're gonna get stronger if you're lifting in general, but it doesn't mean it was right.
Sure.
So it just felt like it was extremely random. And it was kind of like bro lifting, like we didn't actually know what we were doing. And it worked because we're like young and athletic, but there was no structure. And now obviously there's a lot of structure. Like we said, the process like in the season has been 2 days a week. When I get out of season, there's really no out of season, but like when I'm competing less, I'll probably bump it back up to about 3, where I'm doing a little bit less jiu-jitsu. But it's just been 2 days a week. Just really, really, really structured, really easy for me to follow. Honestly, it's great. I like 2 days a week. I think it's perfect because I get really, really sore because I try to lift at a pretty high intensity.
Absolutely. Yep.
I'm trying to like push myself when I'm lifting. And when I'm only doing it twice a week, it's actually nothing's easy, but it's a lot easier to do. And I don't feel like I'm dying from the lifts like afterwards. So it's great, to be honest.
Yeah. And you know, whenever we're looking at an athlete who is a, you know, competitive grappler, the lifting has to complement the grappling. And if we're overdoing it on the lifting side, and, you know, we only have so much time for recovery. So sometimes we can actually, you know, hinder our performance on the mats if we're lifting too much, too often, not allowing ourselves to recover.
Yeah. What are some recovery methods that you actually use throughout the week? Is there any type of things that you go do or to keep your body feeling good while you're actually training and grappling all throughout the week?
For me, I don't like, there's nothing like outside of my like lifting or jiu-jitsu, but I'm very specific. Like I go to jiu-jitsu 20 minutes before practices and I always do the same warm up.
Yep.
And then after class, I always do the same cool down. So I got that from wrestling, like, because lots of jiu-jitsu gyms don't really do proper warm up. So I always come in by myself and do like a proper warm up. And then after class, I always do a proper cool down. And for me, I had those two things, a good warm up and a good cool down. I feel like I'm able to train a lot more and train better. And then obviously just try to sleep a lot, eat well, eat a lot, hydrate a lot, do like the things that I'm supposed to do. And I'm pretty structured about for me, the two big things are good warm up, good cool down, and sleeping a lot.
All valuable things. Yeah. I think a lot of people forget the actual warm up part of things. And that's where a lot of injuries come about. Yeah. And like you mentioned that, I always try to tell even everybody I have that trains, I'm like, you need to do an adequate warm up, or they'll send me a message. They're like, oh, I don't feel, my shoulder hurts or something like that. But then you figure out they haven't done anything to prepare for what they're about to do. So I think that's probably the most valuable thing there.
One of my first MMA coaches used to say, if you go in the ring cold, you come out of the ring cold.
100%.
That's kind of
panicking.
That's it, man. Yeah. And that's something that I even try to do myself. Like anytime I'm going to Chewy's or wherever, I try to get there early and try to stretch, just because I'm just beat up way more than you. I've been.
Dude, I don't know. Yeah, different ways. I'd be like in the morning. I'm like getting up like just crippled, and then I'm like, all right, get some water in me, and now my bones can start moving a little.
There
bit
you
more.
go. Yeah, I feel the same way. Way, but so the whenever you're in the off season, like you said, we go to 3 days a week and so on. And right now I have you doing full body workouts. How is like we're doing some tempo stuff and so on. How's that felt compared to like whenever you would do normal reps in the past with no tempo and then adjusting some of that for you?
It's so much harder, right? Like when I first started doing it, I was like, now I'm able to push a lot more weight with the tempo stuff.
For sure.
But like when I first started doing it, everything just felt super, super weak. Obviously I don't know the science behind it. I let you do that. I let you understand that stuff. But all I know is that doing tempo work, what's it like? Is it called eccentrics, right?
I was slowing down the eccentrics on. Yeah.
And I feel just a lot stronger and a lot more sturdy. And I was just talking to Chewy about this. I just in general feel a lot stronger, and my ability to like explode too feels a lot better. I don't know the science behind it. I just know that I feel better doing it.
Oh, for sure. So, with me in the past, having had the joint issues that I did, I had to lift in a way that I could stress the muscle but not stress the joint. And well, that carries over to jiu-jitsu exceptionally well, because you're playing a game that essentially is designed to damage joints. You're playing a game that's meant to, disable joints. So if our lifting if we're lifting in a manner that's already upsetting our joints and so on, then we're already in a bad spot. So whenever we slow, how do you make lightweight feel heavy? Well, you move it slowly. So controlling that eccentric and, sometimes even the pauses, or sometimes even controlling the concentric of the movement, it really stresses the muscle without beating the joints up as bad. And that's 100%. Exceptionally helpful with jiu-jitsu athletes, grapplers, fighters, so on. But also the carryover I've found into the isometric strength, which really plays a big part in jiu-jitsu. The carryover there seems very, very good too. The pauses, the holding that weight, coming up, pulling that weight to you and holding it for a moment, and all that seems to really have a better carryover than just repping it over and over and over.
Yeah, I agree.
Another question I had for you, and I'm curious, is how did your diet change when you started working with Eli for your nutrition?
Yeah, so again, when I was in college, it was quite random, right? Like most colleges have like buffets, right? So I was just pretty much just eating what I thought would be healthy, and I was like, oh, I'm big, so I can just eat. And then I didn't realize at the time how much weight you lose doing like college wrestling practices. Because in jiu-jitsu, right, you don't lose quite as much weight.
Right.
So I think I was getting away with overeating quite a bit.
Yeah, because your output was so extreme. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Whereas with jiu-jitsu, it's just not the case. Even if you try, it's just not the case.
Right.
So when I was in jiu-jitsu, it's kind of, when I first started doing jiu-jitsu, I was eating quite the same, where I was like, oh, I think I'm eating kind of like okay. But my output wasn't quite the same. So I started to gain a lot of weight. Like when I was in college, I was like 238, I think, like when I won my last national title. And then I got really, really, really big. And I was like, well, why am I getting so big? I'm still training. I'm still lifting. I'm still doing this. And obviously it was because I didn't really know what a proper diet was. And also I think my metabolism obviously is probably changing as I get older, right? Obviously not old, but I'm also not 19.
Sure.
So it's I think there's a lot of factors, and not having a structured diet, I think was really bad for me. I also think just for my health, it was probably going to lead me into like a bad spot, even outside of jiu-jitsu and wrestling. So ever since I joined Eli, I've been able to just kind of stay structured, right? Even I was just telling someone like for my ADCC Trials camp, like those 2 weeks, I was like, I was just, I mean, I'm always pretty much on point, but those 2 weeks I was super on point. Like when I went to the airport, I didn't even know you could meal prep and bring food to the airport, but I found
Yes.
it good.
Yes.
So like I brought my meals in a separate backpack to the airport, and I paid for an extra bag. So I was just like, so I have to do everything perfect. And I didn't have that before. Like, again, before I would just eat anything. And I think it hurt me a lot. Like, I just think that I feel so much more confident when I feel like I'm leaving no stone unturned. Again, I don't know like the science behind anything. I just know like how it makes me feel.
Absolutely. And that's the thing. I think sometimes people see, they want to compare themselves to some of the outliers that they see, and they'll say, well, this guy ate this, and this, and he's, achieved this. It's like, well, he didn't really do that because of that. He did it in spite of that.
Yeah.
And oftentimes we'll look at outliers and think, well, if he's doing that, but, imagine what some of these guys could do if they did dial it in, and you've always had an exceptional work ethic and been an exceptional athlete, but, to your point, leaving no stone unturned, checking off all the boxes and doing things in an optimal way across the board, is going to help anyone regardless of their athletic ability or work ethic or anything. I mean, it's just going to make you more optimal across the board.
100%.
So when you're prepping for a competition or getting ready for a fight or anything like that, how are you preparing year round? Or do you guys have a set amount of weeks that you're working from and kind of have a structured periodization of how you're going about things?
Yeah. So like I said, full time I train in Canada, right? Like I represent Team Pedigo, but one of the like nice parts about living in Canada is I can pretty much structure my own training like how I want to. And for something big like ADCC Trials, it doesn't like start when I go do like my tune-up weeks at Pedigo, right? Like my camp will start much earlier, preferably about 12 weeks out. And then I'll usually go to PSF for about 2 to 3 weeks. Like those like kind of last 2 to 3 hard weeks, leaving 1 week to kind of like chill, the week of competition. And then for like bigger things, I'll just go to PS. Like if it was ADCC Worlds, CJI, for example, I'll go to Pedigo for about 13 weeks and just kind of do whatever Heath tells me to do. But for like smaller, not that Trials is a smaller thing. It's just like, it doesn't make sense to go do a 12-week camp for Trials. Right. If I can kind of do the things myself here at home with the partners in the schools that are available. Right. But yeah, it just kind of depends on the tournament, right? Like I said, for Nogi Worlds leading up, I'm not training as much. Like usually I train twice a day, but my body's pretty beat up from ADCC Trials. So I'm actually drastically decreasing the amount of jiu-jitsu I'm doing. I'm going to do once a day for the next 2 weeks instead of twice a day. And just kind of try to recover because I don't know, maybe it's my nervous system, but I still feel pretty like I'm not firing as much as I should be. So with that in place, I'm like with that being the case, I would just kind of read my body and be like, okay, for this next tournament, I know I can do 5 hard matches, right? So it's like that's not going to change in 2 weeks. So my goal is like when I'm doing like my strength and conditioning sessions, it's like I do a lot of output there, especially like the cardio part of it, like my sprints, and then I have hard sessions with the 1 time a day that I do jiu-jitsu leading up. But again, it will change depending on what tournament it is. Had I competed already, like right before, there's just a lot of variables that like factor into how I kind of create a camp for a jiu-jitsu tournament.
Absolutely. And you touched on something there too, that I think a lot of people, it takes a long time to get to that point, but you know, recognizing when your body feels off and being self-aware, you know, knowing whenever like I've been burning a little too hot for a little too long. I need to dial things back on volume or intensity or something. And listening to your body in those cases, because we can get to the point where we're overreaching, and then you can, to your point, even, you know, you can tax the nervous system a bit too much, and so on. Where, you know, even with lifting, lightweight feels a little heavier than it should have, and you know, and it's the same way on the match. You know, you can feel when you're off, you know, and you can even get to the point where you even can compromise your immune system to the point that, all right, little viruses are easier to get, and it's harder to fight things off, and you'll notice, you know, whatever the case may be. But that is something that it makes my job as a coach easier when I have athletes that understand that aspect of it, and that feedback is objective, you know, whether it be grappling or bodybuilding or anything.
Yeah. With you doing this for 14 years, have you ever suffered any injuries with it or had to work around anything? Or is there anything common that just happens that you're like, okay, this is something I have to make sure that I'm taking care of so I can keep progressing?
Yeah, I've had a lot of injuries, like a lot of little ones, but the big one was like I tore my ACL in my left leg in 2020. And ever since then, like, you know, with one knee injury comes a ton of other knee injuries on the other side.
That's right.
So I ended up like tearing my LCL on my right leg. So it's like I just have bad knees. I'm obviously, like, when I say I have bad knees, like, I don't want to like exaggerate it. Like I've strengthened my knees a lot to where like I'm fine. But like obviously my output with shots and stuff is so much less. Like when I was at trials this week, people were like, man, like I had a couple matches where like I pretty much just won through hand fighting. And it's like, man, if the guy's another really good wrestler, it's going to be hard. I have to be very intelligent about how often I'm shooting, because for me, it feels like every time I shoot, I lose something. So I've kind of changed my game a lot more where I'm focused on hand fighting, a lot less on like shooting takedowns, unless I really feel like they're there. So I guess my game became a lot more pressure focused instead of like frequency, like a volume of shot focused, right? And of course I'll shoot if I need to, but I'm a lot more patient now. And I think the knee injuries have been like the main reason.
Yeah, that makes sense. You had to kind of adapt to what you had going on and switch up your style. That's smart.
Yeah, exactly.
It's which you know, even in the matches, you always, I think you had the mat return. You work a duck under a whole lot in your matches anyway, right?
Yeah, exactly. And you don't really have to hit your knee as hard with a duck under. Like a traditional shot, you're pounding your knee, but a duck under is an outside step, so you don't really ever put weight on your knee when you hit a duck under, which is why I like it. And then mat returns, it's like if you get behind them, I know I'm strong, like I trust that. So I'm like, I deadlift, so I'm pretty sure I can pick up these dudes a couple times, you know?
That's it. Yeah. But, so you said, so we have Worlds coming up, and then you have Grapple Fest next year. And then, so what do you do as far as whenever you're looking at the time leading into the Grapple Fest? Are you going to, you said you're in the process of moving. So are you looking to, do you already have a gym out there that you're going to be training at, or?
Yeah. I have a gym I'm training at.
Okay. And then, so whenever you get set for that, will you continue to prep up there? Will you come down to Heath's, or how will you go about that?
No, I'll probably stay up here. I'll train at Omerta. My friend, He's a black belt in Faraz Sahabi. He's a really good friend of mine. Like I chose Guelph. I wanted to move to Ontario, and I chose Guelph because of that gym. So it's a very good gym.
Nice.
So, and my friend he's like a true like definition of a coach, right? Like he's very focused on the people who compete. So I chose that gym. So it's a good intermediary while I'm not at Heath's.
Yeah.
So I will not go back to Pedigo before Grapple Fest. I'll just I just kind of want to settle down a bit. I'll settle down, train with the guys I have. And there's lots of amazing grapplers in Ontario in general. So it's kind of easy to get really good training up here. Also, most people don't know about Canadian Jiu-Jitsu, but it's actually really, really good.
Yeah.
It's just not as famous as Americans, right?
Sure.
So, but it doesn't mean it's not good. So there's lots of good training partners up here. There's good structure and good coaching. So I'm kind of just going to settle down a little bit, take January off. I mean, I'm going to train, but I'm not going to compete in January. Just focus on seminars, making some money, and then just kind of just training, playing a new game. And then, I'll warm it up with something in, I think, Kalamazoo, Michigan or something is where the Thug Trials is at. And then that'll be a warm up to Grapple Fest, unless Grapple Fest falls through. But for now, it seems like it's not going to.
Awesome. And yes, there are some incredible athletes coming out of Canada, and then every big win that you have certainly puts it on the map even more. But at what point did you start seeing jiu-jitsu as a possible career for yourself?
I think it was that Nogi Worlds, at Blue Belt. I think I was like, you can like win a world title. I put it like in quotes because it's Blue Belt, but it's like you can win a world title, right? It kind of makes you think, okay, it's possible to kind of like get big wins early for me. And then I went to ADCC Trials immediately after, like my first ADCC Trials, and I loved the environment. And I was like, oh man, like even though I lost, I only went 1-1. I was like, oh dude, I want to do this. Like I really want to win this tournament. And I watched this Nicky Rod documentary, the Black Belt Celery documentary, actually before Trials. And I was just like, yo, this is so cool. And it kind of inspired me to be like, I can do what he's doing. And so I kind of just wanted to like follow that. And yeah, it worked out.
Yeah, it's interesting that you brought up that documentary because I was there back in August watching you go against that very guy at CJI. Yeah. And you had an awesome match with him. Your wrestling looked incredible. So long term, like, do you plan on opening a gym yourself, teaching jiu-jitsu?
Yeah, I'm going to open a gym. I'm going to open a gym in 2 to 3 years, like the max. I'm going to open a gym. So that's the plan, is settle down here in Canada. Like I consider myself more Canadian than American now, right? Like I love Canada. I don't want to leave. I've been here for 2.5 years, and I plan on staying here. I love it here. So I'll open a gym, most likely in Guelph. And yeah, I just want to teach, and I'll be obviously like even when I open a gym, I'm going to be competing. So I don't plan on like stopping to compete anytime soon.
Yeah. Well, I hadn't really thought of a good reason to go to Canada, but now I guess I have one.
Yeah, it's a great place. And Guelph is cool too, because it's like, I don't know, it kind of is like similar to like a Bowling Green type of city. Like it's not huge, but it's not small, Like I don't know if you've ever been to Bowling Green. I'm assuming you have. But you're kind of like right around there, right?
Yeah, we're more on the eastern side. Well, I am especially, but then Lexington is where we're at right now. So yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, Guelph is similar to like Bowling Green-ish, where it's like, I'm in Montreal, and it's just too big, right? I've lived here for 2 years, but it's not like, I think when it comes to like opening a business, it's quite difficult to open a business in a city that has 3 million people, and the size of like, think about like Montreal is half the size of Louisville with 3 million people.
Jeez.
Right. So geographically, right. So
it's just a hive of people.
Yeah. And I love it. I love Montreal. It's my favorite. I will tell people it's my favorite city in the world. I'm so happy I lived here for 2 years, but it's not like the city that I want to settle down in. You know, like when I open a gym, have kids, et cetera, et cetera. I'll always visit Montreal because Katie's family is from here and I have a ton of friends here. But Guelph overall, long-term is just so much better for me.
That's awesome, man. Well, I'm super excited for you. And, Worlds is coming up in a couple weeks. And, I hope to be there to see you and then Chewy and all the guys compete. But and then excited for going into next year and all the things that we got coming up. But anybody that is watching that would like to find your information, follow you on social media, how can they do so?
Yeah, all my stuff is Brandon Reed 3X. Like even my website for instructionals and stuff is brandonreed3x.com. So it's pretty simple. I want to kind of change it eventually. I think Brandon Reed 3X sounds pretty lame, because I started that website 4 years ago. So now I'm like, I kind of want to change it, but I'm still kind of in the process of like thinking that up, So
Right.
Now it's just my name.
Yeah. And that's something too, guys. If you guys are interested in any kind of instructionals, Brandon has those on his website, and they're extremely helpful. He's a great instructor. He's a great coach, and constantly goes on tours with seminars. But Brandon, we really appreciate you being on, man.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, brother.
Yeah, no problem.
This has been Betson and Coffee Unfiltered. Thank you guys for listening.
Make sure to go follow us on social media.